All men care about performance, whether it's in the gym, at work, in relationships, or just day-to-day life. You should at least know your T numbers at Game Day Men's Health Solon. They make it simple. Complimentary initial consultations, labs on site, and sit-downs with real board-certified medical providers to go over testosterone levels, metabolism, and overall health. Game Day Men's Health Solon helps with everything from TRT to weight loss to sexual health, but it all starts with a confidential conversation. You're not rushed, you're not sold, you're just taken care of. So check out Game Day Men's Health Solon today to have a real confidential conversation about your performance in the future.
The Guardians always perform well against the Angels, guys, which they just swept them out of town. Now it's the Reds in the Ohio Cup. We're going to get to that in a second, but Steven Kwan got the day off Wednesday, didn't play today. Yesterday. They're facing a lefty today. In my opinion, I'd sit him again. Give him 3 full days off and then get him back in the lineup tomorrow. But before we get specifically into the series with the Reds, Mike asked us the question, did the Guardians miss an opportunity? A couple of years, or last year, before the suspension of Clase and Ortiz, there was talk about the Guardians trading away Clase. We've also talked about the possibility of trading Steven Kwan. By not trading them, and with Clase's career probably over and Kwan mired in a horrific slump, Jason, do you think the Guardians have missed an opportunity to get value from those guys, for those guys?
Clase, who could have seen that coming?
Yeah, right.
I think in both of these instances, who could have seen it coming? I was in favor of trading Kwan last year because I think you and I agreed that we thought his value among Guardians fans was overinflated compared to what his actual value is, but he was having a very good year. I don't think anybody could have seen him falling off this cliff, though, so they set a really, really high price on him, and they didn't budge off it. That's how they normally negotiate. And I don't think anyone came up to meet the price that they had, and so
I'm not surprised.
Right, so he's still here. Now, do you want to I don't think there's any reason to sell low on him at the time last year, because he had, 2 years of control left, or maybe 3 postseasons of control left.
Right.
So you're going to set a high bar on him because nobody could have seen this coming. So, no, yes, in hindsight, of course.
Yeah, right.
That's like saying they should have traded Francisco Lindor before the pandemic. Okay, right. Yeah, you're right.
They shouldn't have traded this guy. Or they should have. Right. It's easy to say.
It's easy to say that, but I was in favor of trading him, but I'm not going to kill him for not.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody could have seen him struggling this badly into the middle of May. It's wild. Like it's hard to really explain of what's happened to him.
Chris,
I was under the impression of, yes, they missed their opportunity, but I don't think they did the wrong thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because of, obviously, we now have hindsight 2020.
Yeah.
Team made the postseason, incredible comeback division. But I wonder, and we'll probably never know the full story, but how much did that Clase and Ortiz suspension affect the clubhouse? How much did it affect what the front office was going to do? And if they don't get suspended, what I mean by that is, all right, well, Clase's traded, Kwan's traded, we're good. If Clase, with the suspension, did the front office go, well, we're kind of on a season on the brink here, we could go in, we could go out, but the clubhouse was so ready to fall apart, they were blindsided, they were shell-shocked, we got to keep Kwan here because he's a cornerstone piece of this locker room. We need to keep him here. Let's not rock the boat. And obviously it worked out. They rallied together. But, you're not going to win a World Series with Steven Kwan being your second best hitter. He's a contact hitter. He gets on base. He's great with the glove. He's a good piece. You need somebody better who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. And now they have a couple guys like that. But I really want to know what's going on with Steven Kwan. This is so unlike him.
Yeah, so obviously, with the Clase part of this, I wish they would have traded him, knowing what I know now. And the difference between Kwan and Clase is, I could have gotten a lot more for Clase
100%.
than I could have gotten for Kwan.
100%.
Okay? I have no problem with the fact that they didn't trade Kwan, even with him struggling, because I don't think they were ever you said it, they put a high price. They were never getting a high price for Kwan. Nobody pays a big price for a singles hitter. Now, he's a good defender, but people go over the top on the defense. He's a gold glove left fielder. He's not an elite center fielder. We've seen it. He's fine in center field.
Yeah.
There's a difference between an elite left fielder and an elite center fielder. That's a big difference defensively, okay? And I'm not saying he's bad in center. He's fine in center. He's good. But he's not special in center, Okay? He's special in left because a lot of teams have left fielders that are schlubs defensively. So that's part of it. Steven Kwan was never going to bring you. You weren't like getting. I mean, you could have gotten lucky with a mid-tier prospect that turned out to be good, but you weren't getting a haul. So the fact that they didn't trade Kwan, fine. I'm still, as awful as he's been, and he's been awful, I'm very confident he will bounce back at some point this year. I just don't buy that this is just now who he is.
Yeah.
There's too much of a track record
I agree with
of him being a good hitter. And yeah, he struggled at times second half last year, and there's been ups and downs. But for the most part, he's been a good hitter. Zach and I were talking about it this morning. He's being too patient at the plate. He's swinging at 9% of first pitches. The league average is in the 30s. Okay? So they're throwing him fastballs right down the middle because they know, A, he's not going to swing, and even if he swings, he's going to hit a single. So he's got to start swinging.
Yeah.
And even if it's a bunch of singles, fine. That's okay. This idea of, I know a lot of people are, oh, we want him to hit for power. Okay, I know there's not a lot of guys like him that, fine, just bat 280. Whatever, bat 280 the rest of the year. From here to the rest of the year, bat 280, and it'll be fine. I don't need him to hit for power. He's not going to do it. That's not who he is. But he's got to be more aggressive at the plate. That's number one. So I think they're in a fine spot. Now, I'll say this. Steven Kwan, to me, has to be dropped in the lineup. Part of it is, the main reason is he's just not getting it done. And you gave him a long leash because of his track record.
Right.
And which is why you're not giving up on him as a player. But we're past the quarter pole of the season. Right? We're 45 games in. I can't keep putting the guy who's, frankly, the worst hitter on the team outside of the catcher position in the one hole anymore. It's not doable. And I said this yesterday, and I said that the Guardians wouldn't do it. And then I brought it up to Zach today, and he likes the idea too. Apparently he said it also. And so I'm going to push for it more. I think Travis Bazzana should be hitting leadoff.
I'm with you.
Okay? He has shown incredible discipline at the plate. Not passivity, but discipline. He's hitting the ball nicely now. He has a great eye at the plate. He is already as a young, and that doesn't mean he's not going to slump. There'll be a couple of week stretches where he stinks. It happens to every baseball player, no matter how good you are, right? Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani's was in a slump. I think he's broken out of it the last day or two. The best baseball players go into slumps, no matter how good you are. But this guy's going to get on base. This is who he is. It's in his DNA. He's going to get on base. And I think it will help the whole lineup, led by Ramirez, who's not hitting well, although Jose's on pace to shatter his stolen base record. He's on pace for like 70-something steals, which is crazy at his age, honestly. Not that he's old, but once you're in your 30s,
Got to
guys
stop
steal.
running. Yeah.
Remember, again, game one of the Ohio Cup on WKYC tonight, 7 p.m. So we'll all be locked in for that. I got the two TVs going with the Cavs and the Guardians. I wish we could have had one at a different time, but I'll stop complaining about it. But anyway, guys, I would be batting Kwan 7th, maybe even 9th, but I think I like the idea of him hitting 7th. And I'd have Bazzana, Jose, DeLauder, and then I'd have, honestly right now, I'm betting Angel Martinez 4th. I'm hitting him clean up, and then Hoskins between 5, 6, and 7, Manzardo, Hoskins, and Schneemann, and then Kwan and the catcher. So I guess I got Kwan 8th.
What's interesting about this Kwan conversation is the fact that now they have outfielders that all of a sudden, if Kwan becomes more expendable, if they want to trade him, Angel Martinez can step into one of those corner
outfielders. But I'm not trading him now.
Not now. But it makes this conversation more interesting if he does need time off to figure it out.
Right, exactly.
You could throw Schneemann in center, you could throw Martinez in left and DeLauder in right, and you'll be fine until he figures it out. So that's a good thing for the Guardians. But I'll say, Jay Crawford brought this up at the beginning of the year, and most of us tune out Jay when he says things.
True, of course.
That's what happens. But
unless he says something really crazy, which he does at least once a day,
right?
And then you're like apoplectic about it.
I'm very familiar with Jay's work. He said he wondered if the ABS system was starting to mess with Kwan a little bit because this is a guy who's so good at the plate and prides himself at knowing which pitches to take, which not to. And I thought it was crazy at the moment. I'm like, oh, it's too early. But now I'm starting to wonder, has that kind of changed his framing of his mind where he's not as confident at the plate as he was? Because, just something's off. It's not the same Steven Kwan as we saw.
Obviously, he's going through it mentally.
Yeah.
I think he's playing with a lack of confidence right now, and that's why he's so passive on the first pitch. Because he doesn't trust himself, and whether the ABS factors into that or not, I mean, who knows? It could be.
I mean, remember a couple of years ago, Jose had a terrible year. Jose's a Hall of Fame player.
Well, terrible year for him.
Right.
Yeah, it was like we were having these same conversations. What's wrong with Jose? What's wrong with Jose?
Yeah.
And Tito said he's hitting the ball well. He's just pulling everything foul. Now it's a different.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying he had a terrible start to the year like
No,
this?
he had a bad year.
When did he have a bad year?
Go back and look.
I'm on his
About 4 or 5 years ago.
2021 where he hit 266 with 36 homers and 103 ribbies.
No.
More recent or before?
And what was his worst OPS, Mike?
His worst OPS was 2019.
I think that was
What
the year.
was his
Try
OPS
29
that year?
What was his,
806,
I mean, it's still 806.
what was his numbers in 2019?
255, 23 homers, 83 ribbies.
That was
Okay, I
it.
mean,
That was it.
Still
terrible
a good year for everybody
Okay,
else.
but-
Bad for Jose.
That's
Yeah.
That's a
You see what I'm
below
saying?
for him. It's a below average season.
We spent
yes.
all season saying, "What's the matter with Jose?"
Yeah, like is he on the decline?
Is he on the decline?
And then
All
obviously
that
he
stuff.
wasn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously this is. Well, I say this is earlier in Kwan's career, but it's not. I mean, Jose wasn't in the league that long in 2019.
He's about 4 years in.
Yeah, which is what Kwan is.
Yeah.
Right. This is his fourth year. So, I just can't believe it just all went away.
Right.
So I give him more time, but let him. I think you're lower in the lineup, takes a little pressure off. And I thought Zach made a good point this morning. They want him to be more aggressive on the first pitch, right? Well, if he comes up in the 7 hole or the 8 hole, there's going to be guys on base sometimes.
Yeah.
When you're leading off every game, at least in your first at bat, there's never anybody on base.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I want to get on base. I should be patient here. Now he's in the hole because everybody's throwing strikes right down the middle. And so he's falling behind 0-1 constantly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if fans realize, like, it may seem like not a big deal, but the difference between 1-0 and 0-1 is a big deal.
Huge. Yeah.
You look at and obviously the more you go deeper into the count, the bigger difference. But you look at guys' batting averages with a 1-0 count versus an 0-1 or a 2-0 versus 0-2, massive differences, especially once you get to 2 balls and 2 strikes. So anyway, we'll hope the Guardians can take care of business. Again, the first game of the 3-game set. Put it up there, Steve. We've got it, Guardians Reds, right here on your home for Guardians Baseball, WKYC. Make sure that you check it out, that you watch the game.